Back, everyone. So you say you wanted that January thaw, and as we speak on this Sunday morning, yesterday certainly warmed up, and today not bad either. Question is, do you want it all that quickly after all that snow that we had last Sunday into early Monday morning? Chief Meteorologist Jay Burspach is here on Conklin. It's great to have you, Jay.
Hey, good to be on this side for once.
Yeah, and people always love the media, interviewing the media, but we really felt that this storm was so significant that it warranted a conversation with you to look back on the week that was and everything that went into it. And today there could be some minor flooding, as we come on air this morning. We're not quite sure about that, but as we tape on Friday afternoon. But let's go back to Sunday if we can. You guys called this far in advance, well in advance.
Yeah, it was a doozy. It was a big storm.
It really was.
Well defined by our computer models. Our computer model is called Predictor by the Hour, so we talked about that. But definitely one of the biggest storms in our recent history in Toledo, about 13 inches. That was the official amount here in Lucas County, a bit more to our north, a bit less to our south. So you can see there the plows doing their best. One of the big factors is the snow did let up. The wind, it really kicked up there, causing that blowing and drifting snow. Look at that. The northbound side there, the right side,
there, right?
Yeah, covered. The other lanes were at least somewhat clear, but it was all about the wind, the light fluffy snow at the end of the storm. And really, this put us near historic levels for snow already. For the season, at least big numbers for the season. So take a look here at our weather computer quickly. We have numbers here that show that for the season so far, the snow to date, 35.5 inches. It's pretty amazing. So think about that. It's almost 3 feet of snow just this season.
So we should be done then.
We should, yeah. Well, there's your average.
With 2 months of winter left.
Your average season snow. So as things start to thaw in March and April and May, an average winter, 37.4 inches, so it just takes another couple of inches. We're at the average, and last year, the year before, and I think the year before that, very light snows throughout the winter.
Yeah, we really got a break.
We did, yeah. Last year, you can see they're only 22.4 inches. In January, we're on the record books already, Lee, in 5th place all-time here, and you can see that top number, 1978. That's our benchmark in many ways.
Yeah, and hopefully we never approach that one again.
Right.
But shortly after all the snow ended, I think around 11, 12 o'clock, I was shoveling last Sunday night, perhaps the 7th time of that particular day. But then the big Klondike cooler, the icy grip, rolls in, and that really created most of the problems because the roads turned to ice and salt didn't work. But we heard perhaps on other forms of media, there's something this called this polar vortex, Jay.
Correct. Yeah.
What was that all about?
Polar vortex, Lee, is it's a weather phenomenon that's always there, basically at the North Pole and South Pole. And what we have is at the surface a very strong area of high pressure, which is what came in and took the snow away. That's usually over the Arctic. Cold air usually sinks. Well, above that, you have an area of weather or spin that's going counterclockwise, or like a low pressure system we get here at the surface, but it's up in the atmosphere, high in the sky, and that comes down and helps things get colder and colder. So yes, it was a polar vortex, but it was just a piece of it. The actual vortex, the big one, still to our north.
It can stay up there as far as
they can keep it, but it did. I mean, I don't know about you, but this week it felt like we lived in Alaska or northern Canada or the North Pole, South Pole. It was just so cold, so windy, so dry in your house. We had snow in my house creeping through some of the seams of the windows. We saw where the drafts were on our windows and doors. The snow is actually coming in the house just a little bit, showing us the power of Mother Nature. Yeah,
and then when the temperature gets down to what, 15, 16 below is as cold as we got, right? But records, how many days in a row?
We broke 2 records this week. Came close to 3, and we did not break the all-time record. Let's go back to our weather computer here, and you can see the numbers we have from earlier this week. The average January, the days we spend below 0, 3. That's an average year. We've gone past that. Now, the all-time record set back in January of 1984. It was January 21st, 20 below. That record stand, and the all-time the all-time coldest high there, 9 below 0. Here are the 2 lows we did break. Monday, it was late in the day. It got colder and colder and colder throughout the day. So late in the evening, we hit 15 below 0, which broke a very old record. That was 14 below back in 1884. And then early Tuesday morning, we hit 14 below. That shattered that record there of 6 below set a little more recently in 1970. So there are your 2 record lows. Still very cold Wednesday and Thursday, and then Friday into the weekend, obviously. things changed pretty quickly.
Right.
It got much warmer.
A little too quickly, right?
A little bit. It could have been worse, but definitely it was a welcome for most.
Oh,
Finally, a
no
few
doubt.
schools were open,
Right.
at least not all of them closed. But this also boggles my mind. Some schools were off now
all week.
3 weeks.
Right, 3 weeks.
Three
Right.
straight weeks for those kids. Amazing.
No wonder many of the adults, we're all going a little crazy right now.
I think everybody, yeah. And even we went shopping this weekly, and still these store shelves, not sure if it was a problem getting more supplies in, but still empty from that big rush on the weekend before the snow hit. People knew this was coming, the snow, then the cold, and it's just taking time to get things back to normal in so many ways. The schools, the food, just life.
Right.
Life in general.
But we're starting to.
We're trying.
Enjoying the warmer temperatures this weekend.
Yeah.
Okay. We have the Farmer's Almanac. They predict months in advance. They publish that thing. I don't know what you feel about that.
Yeah.
People ask you, they'll call you months ahead, say, I'm having a wedding on this particular day. What do you think? And
it's tough. It is
okay.
tough.
Any rhyme or reason for this particular historic wave of events we had this past
I
week?
think it's just plain luck.
Okay.
It's not exactly like this, but like flipping a coin, you can get heads 40 times in a row. You can also get heads, tails, heads, tails,
Sure.
heads, tails. It's kind of a random thing.
But eventually you get an average, right?
You do, yes. That's why over time you get an average. So I think these big events here, after a couple of very weak, calm winters, relatively mild and not snowy winters, just a matter of time for us to get hit by a few of these storms, which always seem to just miss to the north and to the south. And finally, we were in the path of 2 or 3 of those right in a row. So in the Farmer's Almanac, they use a special formula that I have not been told to make those predictions out a year in advance. And I think they do mention in this year's edition that I think the Super Bowl, they're calling for a blizzard in New York City.
Okay.
So we'll see if that comes true. I can't predict that far out. 7 days is plenty for me, but we'll see what happens for the Super Bowl.
Okay, that's a ridiculous idea anyway. They need to have it in a warm weather climate
Well,
or in a dome somewhere. But that's my editorial opinion.
I'm with you.
All right, Jay, thanks. Safe to say I'll see you in just a few minutes.
Okay.
Right here in this building somewhere.
All right.
Thanks for joining us on Conklin & Company, everybody. Have a great Sunday.